What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest episode review for Bleach, 1000 Year Blood War Arc, episode 30, 2222, The Holy Newborn, coming at us with an astounding volume 69. We are covering basically half of volume 69 in one episode. I told you guys, Kubo knows what he's doing. The anime staff is listening to Kubo, and Kubo knows what he's doing. He's like, yeah. Well, like, a lot of this stuff is important, but I mean, we can spend and expand, and we can do all this filler stuff because we got a season and a half to go, supposedly, assuming that this ends by Core 4, assuming there are officially 4 cores from what we know, and each one is going to be roughly 20-something episodes. We're not even at the halfway point here, and yeah, we go through about half. This whole episode covers half of volume 69. Now, if that number holds any weight to you, then congratulations, you're just as perverted as I am. Fantastic. But volume 69, we do cover a lot of the basic stuff, right? Because we actually, at the end of episode 31, we were still covering some of that stuff because we do have a couple of new additions, a couple of new scenes. Obviously, the Grimjow and Neliel scene was slightly reworked alongside of when the Fullbringers show up. And, of course, Shunsui and his speech. He also mentions Uketake, and I like the idea. I like the change here, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but suffice to say that what we do cover is the fact that they all end up going to the Soul Society and stuff, right? We meet Yoruichi's brother for the first time and stuff. The Vonderreich, or whatever it's called, basically the ice hell prison, the Quincy realm is taken over in the Royal Palace and all that stuff. But pretty much they follow the plot of the first half of volume 69. Now, there's a few key things to talk about here, regardless of the fact that it's already happened in the manga. And once again, my reviews are meant for people that have already seen the manga, technically, but, you know, I welcome anybody. Though sometimes there will be spoilers. That being said, Nell showing back up, like Grimjow showing back up, was really cool. It was really nice, you know, that idea, that callback and stuff. Grimjow is a fan favorite antagonist and rival to our main character, so Grimjow, honestly, I like him. He never got that big wow from me that a lot of other people experience, but I do get it. I do get why people love Grimjow. And then Nell shows up, just to spoil the whole, alright, Kurosaki, I'm here to defeat you. Battle me, you know, I'll have to kill you. And then Nell shows up with her bouncing personality and shows up, and Ichigo and stuff like that, and I like Nell. I've always liked Nell. See, the funny thing for me is about Nell is that Neliel, I didn't mind her as a character before I knew she was a spot in number 3, right? Before I knew she was number 3, you know, so numero 3. So the fact is that for me personally, I liked Nell as a gag character, as a funny side character anyways. And when it was like, okay, she's not only that, she's also well-hearted and a badass, it was just like, alright, I already liked her character, and now all of a sudden, boom, we get this version of her, and I'm like, okay, let's go. So she's in this form, she's got a bracelet from Urahara, she's all good, she's ready to kick ass and take names, right? So, and there's some comedy that ensues. Now, Riruka and Yukio, they show up, the Fullbringers show up like they do in the manga, and Yoruichi explains all about the different pins, like Yoruichi is the one that half of the reason this shit is actually manageable, by the way. She's always like, okay, so while we were doing all this and while we were fighting the top dog and stuff, I was planning for just in case. She's like Kisuke. She's like, just in case things went south, I made sure to have a pin behind this curtain so that we would be able to easily transport ourselves zoop, zoop, back like a bullet train in case of shit going down. Shit going south, I'm prepared. And good for Yoruichi. I always liked Yoruichi. Best girl in Bleach. Now, as much as I like Nell, sorry Nell, best girl in Bleach goes to our purple-haired cat lady. Alright? So, anyways, so they talk to the Fullbringers and stuff, and Yukio's like, look, I'm in my own dimension here, I'm happy, I'm good, and stuff like that. And Ganju, like usual, is all like, what do you mean you don't want to help save us and stuff? And Riruka, as Ichigo explains, like, your ability's great and all, it's not really going to be useful here and in this fight. And it doesn't say this, but it's sort of like, Yukio maybe, but you, right now, this battle is not a place for your abilities. Not that your abilities are weak, not that your abilities aren't strong, but they're not going to be helpful, and you're going to be more of a casualty and a concern than an asset at this point. Which is, once again, a very fair assessment of the situation. Another added thing is, of course, because we got the whole speech thing, because we had everybody coming forth, all the Soul Reapers, that are still kicking and stuff like that, they're all contributing to the gate, and we do get the scene that we've already was well into, like, 67, 68 volume. They add the scene, like, everyone's giving up hope about this gate, and then boom, the visors show up, like, especially Lisa with the Now. That's really nice. That's a nice little callback there, because of course the Now bases herself, her hero, her worship, her just inspiration was Lisa. So it's nice to see her showing up in her She-Hulk show and being like, we won't give up, we are visors, we are Shinigami, we are Soul Reapers, we are people here to turn the tide, to defend the world and stuff. Shunsui gives a great speech here, by the way, and stuff. And even though I don't like the fact that the Soul Amplification Machine, which is just random in the manga, is still pulled out here, which didn't need to be, because in all honesty, the way they shaped this is that the way they reworked all the scenes is that the visors hadn't shown up yet. And they were like, oh no, our power's not enough for the gate. Then you have the visors show up alongside all the Soul Reapers with that extra boost and stuff. I would have accepted that explanation. And it's like, oh no, Yuha, like the gate, it doesn't have enough strength. We don't have Uketake anymore, blah, 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 blah. And then you have former lieutenants like Lisa, showing up. We have a former captain showing up and stuff like that. Like, you have the visors, the other half of the visors show up in She-Hulk shows, lieutenants and captains class, able to make up that small, just enough of that difference. You know what I mean? I would have accepted that without the the soul pressure amplification machine. That came out of nowhere, and it was like, okay, so we had this. It actually works worse in the anime's favor, in my opinion. As fine as this episode is, following beat for beat of Volume 69, I don't like the fact that they still add this thing that didn't work very well in the manga, kind of pulled out of nowhere, pulled out of Mayuri's ass, almost like, ha ha ha, just to get one up on Kisuke Urahara when his plans fail. At best, it wasn't a good writing point and a plot convenience at best then. Now, it just undermines everything they just worked towards, because they reworked the scene so the visors show up at the end of this scene, not at the beginning. Uketake's body is still, while never implied in the manga, is still in use, and Shunsui says, keep fighting, Uketake, because we're going to fight too, or he says something like, thank you, Uketake, or he mentions Uketake to himself in his own little moment, like, we're going to keep fighting, like, we're still here, thank you, and stuff like that, like, hold on, your suffering will end soon, that kind of idea, like, we're coming, we're coming, you're not going to have to carry all this weight on your own. He just has one little word, I forget exactly how it's sentenced, but it's very well paragraphed, it's very nice, like, the fact that, just like before they went to the underground stuff, I like that they keep adding, because in the manga, Shunsui basically never reacts to the fact that his best friend has been dead up until the end of the manga. So, and has been fighting and sacrificing himself and stuff. There's very few, if none, no references that I could find on a quick reread of Thousand Year Blood War where once Uketake sacrifices himself, Shunsui never mentions him or thinks about him. You know, maybe once in his fight or something like, but I didn't see that. So, anyways, I like all these added things. You know, the scene before they part ways till Shunsui is supposed to go to Muken and stuff like that. And right before he meets Aizen, he thinks about Uketake and mentions him. And right now, he's mentioning Uketake. And it seems like Uketake is still the reason. And I like this. I like this addition because all my theories somewhat thrown out the window, but kind of culminating together is the fact that even though the Mimihage was absorbed, as was the Riro, by Yuha Bak, even by Yuha, the thing is that Uketake is still, there's still some fight, and I like to think that we see Uketake's body with the Mimihage still holding the three worlds together. And Yuha, even after absorbing the Soul King and absorbing the Mimihage and destroying him and all this stuff, there's still a level of pushback, there's a level of resistance, and Yuha can't just done. Because he was starting. The process started, was stopped, and Yuha hasn't hit the resume button. Why? Why, I say? Because this little tidbit with Shunsui going, we're going to keep fighting Uketake. We see Uketake. Mimihage is still somehow there. Still feeding. Still holding as a replacement Soul King in this regard in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's simply, at this point, a barrier of resistance that's not going to last, obviously, but it's there. And I do like that. I do appreciate that. So, the change around in scenes. But as I said, it's more egregious that the Soul Amplification machine showed up at this point because they had the time and the patience to rework the scene. They added all the Soul Reapers that we've met up until this point. The ones at the beginning of the 1,000-Year Blood War, the ones supposed to protect Karakura Town, all these sometimes nameless Shinigami that we've met throughout the series. You know, even Maki Mahi or whatever his name was from the Soul Society arc. I mentioned him before that Chiru kept making fun of. They are all here, and there was that moving speech about them coming together. Anybody who can stand, come to this section, because we're going to create this gate, and blah, blah, blah. And it's even more moving and less desperate. It's much more of a triumphant last stand, rather than a defeatist attitude. And I just don't like the fact that we moved these scenes around. We added this whole speech. We added this inspiration. And boom, the Deus Ex plot device still happens. Did not need to, because it's never mentioned again. And it's not like it's a pivotal moment where Mayuri's like, I finally won out 1v1 against Kisuke Urahara in intelligence or inventions or something. Like, there's no moment after this where he's just like, oh, you didn't know? Well, here you go. And Kisuke's like, didn't know. End of scene. Never brought up again. Mayuri doesn't treat it as a victory over Urahara. Urahara's just like, meh, about the whole thing. And so, it's not a character device whatsoever. It's simply a plot device that didn't need to happen. I mean, once again, if you want to say that Uketake's power was so vast that it was much better than even the visors could make up for or something like that, you could have had a small scene where Aizen's like, it's still not enough, and Aizen just sort of like, after, because he's woken up at this point, and Aizen could just been like, close his eyes and go, humph, and, or something like that, and, what? The gate, and Kisuke or Shunsui or somebody else reacts like, oh, it's finally worked, it's worked, and everyone, and somebody recognizes that, oh, Aizen gave us that little bit, that little boost, even from that chair. He didn't give us much, but he just gave us that little push. You know what I mean? Because I could see that, because Aizen, at the end of the day, does not want Yuha to succeed. He would rather the ones like Kisuke and Shunsui to succeed than Yuha and the Quincy's. So, I think that honestly, reworked, would have been far better, and I'm very surprised that they used such a criticized plot device the first time around in the manga, and reworked that entire sequence over multiple episodes, adding full new scenes and speeches, just to do this. still use that lame plot device. So honestly, that took the episode down quite a bit for me. In all honesty, everything else in the episode was fine. We're going to this to the royal palace. Both the people in the Soul Society, all the captains and the main characters and side characters and stuff, they're all going to the royal palace. And of course, our main cast is going to the royal palace by a different method. They both show up. It's like, holy shit, is this supposed to be the royal palace? No, it's been iced over because Yuha and of course Askin and Uryu and everybody does not they're freaked out by Yuha's appearance now that he's absorbed his father, the Soul King, and now it's time to do battle. And that's basically where the episode ends. As I said, it follows 69 pretty well. About the halfway mark, looking at it here, it's like, yeah, actually, if we're to go by that, it's actually past the halfway point, because we're about, so it covers about this much, and there's only this much left of volume 69, so if we're to go by those page numbers. But that just means that they can probably cover, where volume 69 has a few more small things to cover, especially Basby, who's of course on the cover, his backstory and stuff. I assume we're going to get a majority episode on that one, so that's a big part of the end of volume 69, but it's not the entirety of it. So I'm figuring 2 more episodes, barring any extra filler, which I won't complain about, because so far all the extra filler has been nothing but fire and added more lore and etc. etc. I'm gonna wager that 33 and 34 will get us clear of volume 69 and into volume 70, barring extra an amount of half an episode of filler. Maybe the Basby one. I say 2 episodes because I feel like the Basby episode will take up an entire episode, and then the other episode will sort of cover, maybe a couple of scenes are moved or out of this one, but the majority of 69 will be followed up in another episode. So yeah, I think 2 episodes will be into volume 70, and then we only have 5 volumes left to go. 5 volumes, season and a half. I'm just kind of saying, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. Now, that being said, as I said, this episode, because of the soul amplification thing, wasn't super crazy about that, and I'll keep harping on that. And I should correct myself here, because I just did say, I remember saying 24 episodes, blah blah blah, per season. No, not exactly. Only about 12. So I should limit that. There's only about 12 episodes a season, but I still remark on the fact of a season and a half. Before I don't even need to cut that correction, because I realized halfway through talking, I was like, oh yeah, we're getting 40 more episodes. No. So, because we're at episode 32 of the 1,000-Year Blood War arc as a full thing, we get about 12, 13 episodes a season. So, as a result, we're only on episode 6 of Core 3, assuming there's a dozen episodes a season. We still have 6 episodes left, plus a whole nother season. I think we got plenty of time. I think we got tons of film and screen time left to cover not only everything in the last, 5.5 volumes, but also to give us an insanely well-animated finish. So, anyways, that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. It's been episode 32, The Holy Newborn review by yours truly. See you back here next time for episode 33, 1,000-Year Blood War arc. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Like, comment, subscribe. Sayonara.